If I had to build a brand from zero in 2026 with limited time, even more limited money, and no room for error, my first move would not be finding a product. It wouldn't be opening a Shopify business. It wouldn't be running any form of advertising. It wouldn't be doing any inventory ordering, because in 2026, building a product first is one of the fastest ways to lose money. It's the single biggest reason that most new founders are dead before they hit the first 12 months of business. And I know because I've been on both sides of it. I've lost hundreds of thousands of dollars on preconceived business ideas, product launches, failed launches, and frankly, just assumptions. And I've also watched our brand Basu here go from $4,000 a month to $120,000 a month in 9 months. Because we just did the opposite. We let the market help to get feedback and iteration on the product before we went and actually spent a whole ton of money on inventory, stock, and investment. For those that don't know, my name's Sasha, and I went from $137,000 in debt to building 2 8-figure e-commerce brands. And through Ecom Capital, my team has generated over $185 million in client revenue over the last decade. And we've helped almost 3,000 plus founders build new e-commerce businesses from scratch. This is the exact 6-step plan that I would follow today in this exact order. Don't skip the steps, because the sequence is more important than the specific step itself. Now, this plan is not for everybody. It requires you to do some uncomfortable things. And so if you're in a position where you're not making money in your business, you need to forfeit the embarrassment, to resist the urge to jump straight into the exciting parts like creating your logo, designing some packaging, making some ads. Most people skip the hard early work because it doesn't feel like progress. It doesn't look like anything's happening. You're like, I just want to start making money already. Can we hurry up? But the early work is exactly what separates the founders who are still in business 12 months from now and the ones that have just quietly given up. Here's where it starts. Step 1 is starting with what you already understand. Now, 12 months ago, one of our clients, Kelly, she came to me with a problem that she didn't really know how to solve. She wasn't an entrepreneur yet, right, with some fancy pitch deck or a whole bunch of like research and information. She was a woman going through some pretty difficult perimenopausal situations with herself. She had some weight gain, some things started to kind of creep up on her own physical self, and she was tired of spending thousands of dollars a month on multiple different supplements that claimed to help with this situation, but they did nothing. So through the whole process, she felt incredibly alone, right? Like this was some private, embarrassing battle that no one was talking about, and she had to just fight her way through by herself. And so one day, she started just talking about it. She started posting it online and sharing what she was trying, what was working, what wasn't working. And some posts eventually started to end up into a small Facebook community. Women started connecting with her about similar problems that they were also experiencing. And they all kind of built this strong community of some failed solutions that did nothing, some things they tried that kind of worked, and this community started to be created. Not with a product, not with a website, and no money being spent whatsoever. But Kelly found something more valuable than any of that, a market that was desperate for someone who actually understood their problem. And so she didn't start with some crazy product idea. She started with her lived experience and a frustration that meant a lot to her. That is what affinity is. The category that you already understand through your own experience, your background, your daily life, and the problems that you have quietly been obsessing over for years, whether it's in the dogs and the frustration with how they chew the side of your couch, or the beauty and the different creams and things that you need to layer onto your skin, or the amount of supplements you need to take, or the fitness routines that you can never seem to follow. It doesn't matter what the category is. What matters is that you have a genuine insider understanding of this category, because that's what makes everything faster, cheaper, and more credible. It's believed and real lived authenticity and credibility. So do this before you touch a product, before you touch a supplier, before you open Shopify, before you even think about a logo or any creating of websites and any of that stuff. The market will tell you what hurts. Your job is to listen. And that's the boring work that no one talks about. Step 2 is to go where the problem is already being discussed. So once you've got your category, your job is to then become a student of the problem, all right? Things like Reddit threads, Facebook groups, school communities, TikTok kind of comment sections, forums. We want to study these areas as if you're like a forensic scientist looking for evidence. These places are incredibly honest because a lot of the anonymity of these forums allows people to talk in a way where they don't usually talk to their friends and family in public. They'll tell you exactly what hurts, and they'll tell you exactly what they've tried and that has failed, and the things that they are desperately seeking and searching for that you can then channel into creating your product around. This research, it costs you nothing. But most people skip it because sitting in the comment section or scrolling through Reddit threads, scraping that information and putting it into your LLM, it feels like procrastination. You're like, God, this is boring. And it isn't. It's actually some of the most valuable work that you can do for your business. Step 3 is then finding a repeating signal. Most founders, they stop way too early here. They see like a general problem, right? They think they understand the customer and they move right along to try to sell that customer something. That's not enough. You need to go deeper until you find the specific version of the problem that comes up again and again and again and again and again across every community, every forum, every thread. It's almost identical in all the language that you find, right? Here's the fastest way to find these specific patterns. It's that much easier these days with all of the AI tools that we have access to. Copy and paste every comment you've been reading, scrape those whole things, or use Manus or those types of tools to scrape the internet and compile all that data into one sole source, right? Ask that chat, ask that project inside of your LLM of choice, what complaints keep coming up? What words do people repeatedly use that describe the pain that they are feeling? What solutions have they already tried and maybe rejected? What does the perfect solution look like based on what they are asking for and what they are not asking for? What can be deduced from what they are not saying as far as gaps? And so reading comments one by one, patterns can be really hard to spot. Obviously now you load that all into the AI, it processes hundreds, maybe thousands of them all at once, and then pulls out the specific language people use, the frustrations that repeat across all of the different posts in different forums and threads to inform your focus area. And that output is the product brief. That is what your offer needs to solve, right? That's where your messaging needs to speak into. How do we solve this? And you don't want to move anywhere further forward into step 4 and beyond until you can recite the core complaint from memory. You've seen it that many times that it becomes completely impossible to forget. At that level, you are ready to proceed. So step 4 is owning the room before you make an offer. Sounds a little bit vague and ambiguous. Let me explain. And so what happens is most founders have this instinct by this time. They're like, okay, cool. I kind of get it now. This is good. We're going to help with the hot flushes and perimenopausal situation. Let's start selling something, but just resist that urge a little bit because this is where most people give up the game as far as the value that they can actually create. Before you make an offer, you need to become the authority on the problem. And the fastest way to do this is to build a community around it. Whether it's a Facebook group, whether it's a school community, whether it's a WhatsApp chat or some kind of VIP Instagram chat, use everything that you've learned in steps 1, 2, and 3 to bring these people together, exactly like I mentioned that Kelly did, around a shared problem. If there's one thing that humans love talking about most, it is their problems. And you want to invite every one of these individuals that you've connected with across different platforms, also promote in the community the sharing of the community to other potential people that might like to participate. And so here's what happens automatically when you are the builder of the room. You become the leader of it. Nobody questions it, right? You've created the space, so you clearly know something worth knowing about that particular problem. And as the community grows, the trust continues building inside of that space, something that no cold ad or cold Instagram message could ever replicate. The target before you move on is 100 people in that community, right? Sounds like a lot, but really you could do that in like 1 to 2 weeks. If you've done steps 2 and 3 properly, you already know where these people are and exactly what to say to invite them in. Step 5, you want to let the market write your product brief. You have a community, you have trust, you have a room full of people that already believe that you understand their problem. Now, you need to do the thing that most founders never do. You need to damn talk to them. Not a survey, not a poll, not a random anonymous Google form, okay? One by one, DM, voice note, a phone call, for God's sake, get them on the phone, whatever it takes to get this community talking. And you need to ask 2 simple questions. This positions you as the authority. It also shows your community that you really care. These are the questions that you want to ask. What have you already tried to solve this particular problem? And what happened? And then you stop talking and you just listen. Because what you're going to hear again and again and again is a version of the same story. I tried this product, it didn't really work. I spent some money on this solution. I invested a lot going into these clinics and it felt like I got scammed, right? They're looking for something that actually does what it promises, all right? And you need to listen very specifically to the words that they are saying. You'll hear what you are looking for, and the closer you get to that customer at the start of this phase, the easier it will be to convert them later. The moment where someone says, if someone could just do this one thing, I'd pay for it tomorrow without thinking twice. That begins to become the sentence of your product brief. It's not a guess. It's not some like market research that you've spun up from ChatGPT like every other single founder on the internet. That's someone telling you they will hand you money before you've even built the thing. That's the position you want to be in before you spend any money on inventory. Craig, one of our clients, he did exactly this same thing. Before he started building his cleaning product for cars and trucks, he didn't design the product alone in his living room and then just like hope the market would eventually buy it. He found the signal. He had the conversations with friends, family, and the broader market. And then he launched something the market already told him that they wanted. He made $10,000 in month 1. The first 4 sales came from his social media before the website was even live. And that's exactly what validation looks like in practice, without any costs, but just a little bit of sweat equity, right? And so don't move into step 6 until you have that sentence, until we have clarity of what is that one problem that they need solved. Okay, if you continue forward, it's going to be vague, ambiguous, loose, and it's going to fall into the AI slop that is the internet. When you hear this one sentence enough times that you could finish the sentence as they are talking it, that's when you know you're ready. Now, step 6 is to build revenue before you build inventory. This sounds a little bit backwards, but let me explain. Most people, they do the opposite of this. They find a product that they believe in, they place a fat inventory order, they wait weeks for the product to arrive, they launch their ads, they discover the market doesn't really want what they have paid all that money for, and they go into complete desperation and panic mode, freaking out about what am I going to do with all of this stock. They got money they can't get back because the stock doesn't sell, product that's not converting, regardless of what price point you sell that thing at. And this is what cripples and kills most brands. Happens consistently, but it's completely avoidable with the right strategy. Because the thing is, you don't need inventory to make your first sale. One of my clients, Paul, he came to us wanting to launch a specific product, and he went and launched this product and ran it for about 6 to 12 months. A knife brand business. After about 12 months of kind of inconsistent, volatile, patchy sales, we told him to pivot into a new market. We tested a product without having any inventory. We went full blast on advertising and marketing without even having the product in stock. He built a simple landing page around that new product iteration, took some ads and content, and then did some AI editing on that content to validate this new iteration to his existing kind of brand that had been built in a similar product category. And the product that he launched immediately scaled up to $30,000 per month. He put the ads on hold, used the cash that he had just generated from all that revenue to fund the inventory and keep the next cycle of sales continue compounding. Paul's business today, after that pivot and that iteration, does over $160,000 per month. Not because he had more money than anybody, and he was wildly strategic and wildly intelligent, but simply because he took this signal of this product not quite performing, and then he boldly stepped into making sales without even having the inventory in stock, using the cash from the sales generated to then go and order the stock. That's the model. You want to validate before you invest and let the market fund your build. And not a single step in this entire process started with finding a product or building a store or running the ads or do a big inventory order. Every single step started with a person, problems, conversations before anything was sold. And it's not by accident. That's the whole point, because the brands that scale fast in 2026, they're not the ones starting with massive budgets and crazy levels of investment into different areas. They are going to be the ones who simply did the unglamorous, unsexy work first, who built the trust before they built the funnel, who let the market and those authentic, credible conversations design the marketing message and the product, that detailed nuance of the founder knowing specific details of what the customer actually wants, that blows out of the water any other market research that you could possibly do with any Claude or any ChatGPT or any other tool on the internet. Now look, the 6 steps that I just walked through, they're not crazy complicated. They're not like some wild secret. You could rewatch this video, write them all down, document them in your own order, and have the framework for yourself to follow in the next 10 minutes. Heck, you could throw this video into an LLM and do the same thing. But knowing the map is not the same as knowing how to navigate the terrain as you're out there on the field. And so you see at step 3, you're going to look at 50 different complaints and genuinely not know which one is signal and which one is noise. At step 5, someone's going to tell you exactly what they'd pay for, and you're still going to second guess whether, are they really going to pay for this? Oh geez, it seems a bit wild. Maybe they're just being nice to me. Those moments don't get solved by rewatching a YouTube video. They get solved by someone who has already been through this process, standing there and helping you, guide you through this entire process. Rick here, he spent $174,000 across 15 years on programs and mentorships and a whole bunch of other junk that never got him anywhere. Not because he wasn't capable, but because the guidance wasn't built by anybody who had actually done it. That's 15 years that he wasted and $174,000 to learn a lesson that should have taken 15 minutes, an honest conversation, and clarity in the right direction. So don't go and follow those same mistakes, and don't go and follow down Rick's path. If you're serious about building something real in 2026, click the link below and book a call with our team. We're going to jump on that meeting with you and go through your whole situation and tell you honestly exactly what is going on for your specific situation and what the next step is for you to get yourself moving to where you want to go. Click the link below and I'll see you soon.